All right, shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakak, Kodash. I want to say and give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, for and as well as the elder bishops of Great Millstone for teaching us His word and truth and sincerity and for ruling well. And salutations to my fellow Akim across the four corners of the globe who also preach and fear in the name of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom to the elect. Lord willing, with some of those men and women. Hey, I'm my brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another quick lesson. And this lesson was inspired by this video that you see right here in front of you. It's a two-part video, and it was speaking about non so-called black families that control Jamaica. Now, this is not just Jamaica. You know, wherever our people dwell at, you're going to see the heathen ruling over us in that land. And even if they have a person that look like us in that land, in the position of power or leadership, they're nothing but mere puppets, because behind the scenes, Esau really runs everything, right? And he props up these different families to rule over Jake in these areas, you know, where, me and the brothers who was at camp on Saturday, and we had mentioned it. The brother Aria all started going into it, and we started speaking about it briefly. You know, when you look at the UN and you see these different you see these different nations in the UN, you assume that, we have a voice there, or that our plight is going to get heard in the so-called UN meetings, which what is it, the United Nations, okay, which the Lord is not dealing with no United Nations. But the point of the matter is, um, there's no there's no nation of Israel in that meeting. There's the Israelis, right? But when we say the nation of Israel, we're talking about the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and people that go back to us. Us as a whole, we're the true nation of Israel. We're the Israelites, right? And our grievances don't get heard in these meetings, right? And so, but some of the ignorant of our people, they'll believe that, well, we got different nations. I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Trinidadian, I'm Jamaican, and they really pride themselves in being from these different lands in which we were scattered at. But in reality, we're nothing but slaves in these different lands that we're driven to. That's all we are in these nations. All right. And so without further ado, let me play this. It's an excerpt from the camp video on Saturday. Jamaica too. I was watching your brother's a sweet too, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I was watching
Yeah, I was thinking this. I was about to say, Jake is so dry over here. How many of those UN meetings have they had in New York? Mm-hmm. And Jake never picks up on the fact that among all those nations at the UN meeting, you never see a sign of somebody sitting behind it where it says black or even African American.
Right, right. That term black or African American, those are nothing more than government terms that were put on the so-called Negro here in America, North America. And it applies, well, they say it don't apply to Jake that live in the islands and whatnot, because they call themselves Jamaican or West Indian. But those are also government terms, proverbs and bywords. We're not known by our true nationality, which is that of the children of Yasha Allah, Israel, the true Israel of the Bible. Okay?
That means you're not included in Puerto Rican.
Right. Our people are not included in these major decisions that they have in the UN. And the reason why is because where we're living at, where we're dwelling at, we don't control those areas.
Or Dominican, or Colombia.
Or even if they are there, when are they pleading your cause?
Yeah,
They're pleading the cause of
no
what?
representative.
The world, of the corporations, of the world, like, oh, the world gotta move forward. While you in a third fucking world country, or you out here in Babylon degrading the projects and shit, like, they talking about let the world move forward, but let's leave these people behind, man. That's pretty much what they always do every single year.
When you had grassroots leaders like Malcolm X and other people that were on his similar platform, they were talking to Malcolm X at one point was talking about going to NATO and bring up charges against America, of the UN, to bring up charges against America. Well, they killed him before that can even happen. Whenever so-called people or Latinos try to plead the cause of the people at the UN, they never hear that shit. They was talking about reparations to UN, and everybody walked out. They're not trying to hear that. They're not trying to hear it. They're not trying to see us as a nation. Right, absolutely. So where we dwelling at in these different countries, in these different places, we're not a nation, right? We're a nation in exile. but we're not a complete nation, right? You got our people calling themselves Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Puerto Ricans, Salvadorians, or Salvadorians, Mexicans, uh, Cubans, Haitian, Black Americans, right? And in their mind, we're all separate. The plight that we're going through in each of our minds, they it's like, oh, it's separate, right? You start addressing issues in America that happen, which slavery happened all over the world, right? The transatlantic slave trade affected the globe. It was a global economic trade. That's why these families are still rich to this day off of that. Okay, Jamaica. How did the so-called black people get to Jamaica, right? Through slavery in captivity. How did you get to Dominican Republic, right? Through slavery. And then you had the Taino Indians, which were Israelites, right? There, and they mix and mingle with each other. Then you had the Spaniards come, right? But all of that came through slavery, so we were all affected. Like we were saying, if if the UN were to take up the so-called American Negroes' charge of reparations and force America to pay back what they owe, which they're not going to do, all the rest of Jake would get in line and ask for the same thing because they rightfully deserve it. But this is how they keep Jake in control and under the thumb of the heathen in the lands in which they dwell. That's what this video right here that you see right here in front of you says non-black families that control Jamaica's wealth, because it's not black people don't so-called black people or black Jamaicans don't control the wealth in Jamaica, right? They don't have any sway in that. All we are in these different lands are nothing more than a human resource and a people that's oppressed, right? Like you got this guy right here. Let me play this real quick.
His family's financial ventures to new heights. Michael Lee Chin is a powerhouse in the business world.
Yeah, this guy's named Michael Lee Chin. They say he's so-called biracial, right? He Chinese and Jamaican and African and Jamaican, right? Which African and Jamaican is the same shit, right? I believe his mother, well, they said both his parents were so-called biracial, right? But you can guarantee that they were more Chinese than they are so-called Jamaican, so-called black. And why is that? Because these gooks, these nations, what they did was they took over the lands, they come over to the land, and this is how they enrich themselves, right? But they live in the land and they start dealing with our women and they start having children. And the same thing happened with Herod. Herod was ruling over Israel, but what was it, Herod the second? Because you had Herod the Great, then you had Herod the second, right? Nonetheless, these were Edomites that looked like Jakes that were ruling over us, calling themselves the kings of Israel. In reality, they weren't. They were just heathen ruling over us. And you see that here, even in Jamaica. This dude, when you see the list of these families, none of them are so-called Jamaican, West Indian. When I say Jamaican, I'm talking about black Jamaicans. None of them.
Steering his family's financial ventures to new heights. His big break came with savvy investments in National Commercial Bank, NCB, and AIC Limited, setting the stage for his financial empire. As the president and chairman of Portland Holdings, a private investment company, Lee Chin has demonstrated a keen eye for lucrative opportunities. Meanwhile, his younger brother, Wayne Chen, holds the reins at Super Plus food stores, showcasing the family's diverse economic influence.
So you got to go to the heathen for the one of all things. This is a curse, right? This is the reason why these heathen are exploiting Jake on every level. You go to America, you come to America, it's the same thing. Who runs these stores, these corner stores? Elam, so-called East Indians, Ishmael, so-called Arabs, Moab, Ammon, so-called Chinese and Japanese. And you can put the Koreans in there, right? It's why? Because like the scripture says, Deuteronomy 28:48, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Right? In the NLT it says, you will serve your enemies. Who are our enemies? These nations, right? Because they don't have our best interest. They're not going to feed us with food that's healthy for us. They're not going to give us food that's lawful in the eyes of Yahweh Bashim Shai. What do? They exploit our weaknesses. They exploit our sin and our iniquity, and they feed us trash, right? Because they got the power to do so. and they'll put a little so-called a little mixed so-called mixed person over there. How you thinking that this dude one of your people? He's speaking patois. You know, he walking around acting like he is a so-called Negro, but in reality, he's a heathen ruling over us. It says, "You will serve your enemies, whom the Lord will send against you. You will be left hungry, thirsty, naked, and lacking in everything. The Lord will put an iron yoke on your neck, oppressing you harshly until He has destroyed you, man." And how is the Lord oppressing us? Well, he's using these different nations, amongst other things. But mainly we're talking about these different nations. Our people have to go to these people for the one of everything. You got to go to you while you go buy food from this man, from your slavery, from your job, you get paid, right? You got to go to this man and give him your money so you can eat, right? These are the heathen we got to go to for the one of everything, right? This dude owns the Lee Chin. They own supermarkets. They own um, financial institutions and banks in Jamaica. When in reality, the people that are there, the Israelites that are there, are supposed to have it, but they don't have it because of the curses. So these heathens, they become lords over us, right? They're becoming wealthy over us. This is Second Esdras 6:56. And as for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from the vessel. And that's right. The Lord don't look at these nations as anything. He said that they're less than nothing. He count these nations as spittle. The Lord don't care about your business acumen. The Lord don't care about these nations um ingenuity and so-called intelligence. Nah. According to the Most High, they're nothing. But verse 57, and now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have become to be lords over us and to devour us. In the GNT, right? In the GNT, it says, we, verse 58 in the GNT, I'll start at 57. But now, Lord, those nations that are considered as nothing are ruling over us and destroying us. So as these nations rule over us, they're not helping us. If you go to this man's supermarkets and stuff, and you go into the ingredients in that food, there's nothing but abominations. It's a bunch of poisons, right? That this man is smiling and enriching himself. I think he's supposedly one of Jamaica's richest men. I think he's worth like a couple $1 billion, almost $2 billion, and some shit like that. But over there, that money, that's like forever money for them, you know. You couldn't find an Israelite that was over there that was able to run businesses and feed themselves and enrich themselves by helping their people. Nah, you ain't gonna find that over there because we're in captivity, right? Salakia. It says, but now, Lord, these nations that are considered as nothing are ruling over us and destroying us, right? And that's exactly what they're doing, right? They're ruling over and it's over us. They're destroying us and they're enriching themselves by doing so. Because none of these lists that you about to see in this lesson are going to be any or no Israelites are on them list. Now in America, you got a few wealthy jakes, right? Entertainers, athletes, one businessman, right? But when I'm talking about wealth, I'm talking about like in the billions, which that's really not no real money anyway. But let's just say for edification's sake, you ain't gonna see a swath of Israelites on these lists because we're under the curses. And the ones that are on these lists, they either heathens, tares, or they sellouts. But they're not for the best of you.
Of Portland Holdings, a private investment company, Lee Chin has demonstrated a keen eye for lucrative opportunities. Meanwhile, his younger brother, Wayne Chen, holds the reins at Super Plus food stores, showcasing the family's diverse economic influence. Michael Lee Chin's strategic investments and leadership have earned him a spot on the Forbes billionaires list, with an impressive net worth of 1.5 billion US dollars.
Yeah, they had this guy speaking like he's some type of motivational speaker to show you how to get wealthy, but and he ain't gonna tell you that it's because he's a heathen and he's propped up by the super elite. See, the super elite, they rule the whole earth, right? But they're not gonna be in Jamaica and America on the ground ruling. They're gonna have proxies ruling, right? And it don't take much, like somebody said right here, other than providing jobs for Jamaicans, right? And jobs equal slavery, right? We're in slavery underneath of these heathens. what grassroots investments do any of these companies have which support local communities and development? And the answer to that is none. Right? No, Jamaicans do not run their economy. It says Jamaica's economy and wealth have historically been shaped by colonialism and to some extent control of wealth by non-black individuals or foreign entities remain a legacy of that history. So again, why is that? Because we're in captivity, right? Our people don't rule nothing. Our people don't own shit. And it goes back to the curses, right? Real quick, this Deuteronomy 28 and 43. It says, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. This is part of the curses. It don't matter where we at. It don't matter where the Israelites are at in the earth. We're under this. We under this right here, right? The stranger, which is these other nations, right? They're above us. It says foreigners living among you will become stronger and stronger while you become weaker and weaker. And you see that with this dude, Michael Chin, right? He's become extremely wealthy. This nigga went to college in Canada. He got jobs and he ended up going to, and listen, you can't say it's about working hard because besides the so-called Mexicans, really all Israelites work hard. But Jamaicans are known for working hard. Motherfuckers work like it's going out of style, man. And they pride themselves on having employment and constant employment, right? And being able to do a number of different things without even complaining. But guess what? You're doing all that work and you're building somebody else's empire, right? You're building somebody else's wealth. You're not building your own, right? You're just maintaining your slave quarters. While these heathen nations, these so-called non-black individuals and foreign entities remain ruling over you, right? It says the control of wealth by non-black individuals or foreign entities remain a legacy of that history. Jamaica was a British colony from 1655 until it gained independence in 1962, which that's like 300 years, right? It's over 300 years, bro. During which time the island's economy was centered on plantation agriculture, slavery, particularly sugar. These plantations were largely owned by British or European settlers, and the labor force was made up of enslaved Africans. Right. So even to this very day, our people are in slavery to these heathen nations when they're nothing to the Lord. These fucking spittle. But the reason why they're ruling over us because of our iniquities, of our sins. And we're going through this. All of us, no matter where we at in the earth, you can go to Colombia, you can go to Uruguay, you can go to Brazil, you can go to anywhere in the Central, South, North America, Africa, Europe, wherever our people are at, it's the heathen that's ruling over us, man. But soon this is going to come to an end.
The Leachin Brothers ventures highlight their significant impact on key sectors, solidifying their legacy in the business world. Next up, we have the Stewart family. The Stewart family stands out as one of Jamaica's wealthiest and most influential dynasties, making a profound impact on the tourism and
it said they got a dynasty. So it's not just one individual and his brother. It's multiple generations of Edomites ruling over Jake. And you can't tell me that these people work harder or more influential. Well, they are more influential, but
significant impact on key sectors, solidifying their legacy in the business world. Next up, we have the Stewart family. The Stewart family stands out as one of Jamaica's wealthiest and most...
Yeah, so the Stewart family, you got the Stewart family. Let's look them up. The Stewart family of Jamaica. Like, you never even heard of these people, right? Adam Stewart, Cheryl Stewart. Let's look at this. They call this Gordon Butch Stewart, right? It says Gordon Butch Stewart was a Jamaican hoteler and businessman. He was the founder, owner, and chairman of Sandals Resort, Beach Resorts, and their parent company, Sandals Resort International, as well as the ATL Group and subsidiaries and appliance traders and the Jamaica Overseers. It says he was born in Kingston, Jamaica. He grew up along the country's north coast, where he came to be known as Butch, a nickname given to him by an American seller. As a child, Stewart helped out his mother's appliance dealership, and at 12, he bought a small canoe and used it to catch fish to sell them to local hotels, and then bought a larger boat, which he operated until age 17. Right? So this dude, he was born into wealth. He was born into substance. He was born into the ability to make something of himself. Meanwhile, the Israelites that are living over there, they can't do that. It's a known fact that poverty is run rampant in Jamaica. And what comes with poverty, everything that's evil comes with poverty. Right? Meanwhile, the ones that's ruling over you are the heathen. Right? Are the heathen Edomites, fucking Moabites.
Influential dynasties, making a profound impact on the tourism and automotive industries. The late Gordon Butch Stewart, a visionary entrepreneur, founded Sandals Resorts International.
Yeah, and that resort, only time you're gonna see Jakes at their resort is if they're from out of the country or if they're working there. It's particularly Jamaicans, you're not gonna see them at Sandals Resort. They can't afford to go to Sandals Resort, right? But they're working there.
Luxury resort chain, and the ATL Group, which includes Appliance Traders Limited and a thriving automotive division. His brother, Richard Stewart, laid the groundwork for Stewart's Automotive Group, a leading car dealership in Jamaica that handles prestigious brands like BMW, Mitsubishi, and Jaguar. Today, this family legacy continues under the capable management of Jacqueline Stewart, who oversees the Automotive Group. With a combined net worth estimated at around US $1 billion, the Stewart family's businesses are integral to Jamaica's economy.
You see, they make money off of the economies no matter where we at. These nations are ruling big time, heavy.
Key figures include Adam Stewart, who serves as the executive chairman of Sandals Resorts, and Jacqueline Stewart, who helms Stewart's Automotive Group, ensuring the family's enduring influence.
So basically, it's two Jamaicans. You got the affluent Jamaicans, and then you got the poor, which are the Israelites. And it's crazy because it's through the poor that influence about Jamaica. People are influenced by Jamaica, right? But through business and through banking and finance, they have no control over that. It's the heathen that rule that, and that's a whole nother Jamaica.
Business landscape. Coming up at number 3 is the Desnos family. The Desnos family has been pivotal in shaping Jamaica's economy and cultural identity.
Yeah, let's look at who the Desnos family is. The Desnos family of Jamaica, right? And you can do this anywhere in the world where our people are living at. You can do this. It says the Desnos and the Gettys family is involved in Jamaican brewing beverage industry, best known for Red Stripe Lager, right? So the Desnos and Gettys, right? Desnos and Gettys are Jamaican brewer beverage producers of Red Stripe. Eugene Peter Desnos and Thomas Hargraves Geddes, and one is an Edomite. I'm not sure who this guy is, what his background is. I'm just looking for it. Just bear with me. Right, and if you think about Kingston, it's always known for being a downtrodden place, right? It's always known for being a downtrodden place. You ain't never know that it was a lot of wealth come from that place, man. Red Stripes. Look at these Edomites. They making money off of your destruction, right? Right, and this is the way it is. It's the world we live in, right? Right, it's nothing but heathens ruling over our people in these different lands. Heathens. Let me get another one. Bro.
Is the Ashenheim family. The Ashenheim family,
yeah, so-called
with their Jewish heritage, stands out as a powerhouse in Jamaica's business world. They've made their mark by holding influential shares in some of the island's largest and most significant companies. Their business empire includes major stakes in Caribbean Cement and Carreras Jamaica Limited, and they were also part of La Celeste Mercado, which owns renowned brands like Ray and Nephew Overproof Rum. With their extensive investments across key sectors, the Ashenheim family has built a remarkable fortune, estimated at over $300 million. Their wealth and strategic business moves highlight their central role in shaping Jamaica's economic landscape. The Hendrickson family.
Yep.
with their roots tracing back to Chinese Jamaican
You see,
heritage.
you
The
see, see.
Hendrickson
They say
family
they call them Chinese Jamaican heritage, but it's Moab and Ammon. These people are our enemies, bro. These are our enemies. These nations, this little big-headed goop. These are our enemies, man. These people are not our friends, bro. Our enemies are ruling over us, but guess what? It's about to end soon. Somebody said right here, Jamaica, what's going on? Can we not educate our people so we too, as people, have something for ourselves? No, it ain't about education. These people didn't get to where they got to by education, going to school and going to the right schools. No, they got there because they were set up. The heathen were set up there. And really because the Lord put them there over us to rule over us for our iniquities. This going to turn around when Yahweh Shai come back. The nations, they're going to be in on the bottom, right? This is the book of Deuteronomy 30 and 7, right? Nobody wants to hear this. And it ain't all heathen because you got poor heathens too. But we're talking about the wealthy and people that are ruling over our people, right? And these poor, they get more preference over us than we do them. So, hey, there you go. This is Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy 30 and I'm getting it real quick. Was it 30, 32 and 7? Deuteronomy 32 and 7, right? It says, remember, I'm sorry, I said 32. It might be 30 and 7. Deuteronomy 30 and 7. It says, and the Lord Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, will put, matter of fact, I'll start at 6. And the Lord thy power, and the Lord Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, thy power, will circumcise thine heart and in the heart of thy seed to love Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, thy power, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live, right? And that's what's going to happen in the kingdom. The Lord's going to circumcise our heart, meaning he's going to make us follow his laws, statutes, and commandments, because that's the reason why we're broken. Because we're sinning in sin and iniquity is sin upon sin, right? But the Lord's going to turn this around, right? He's going to make it so that we can't sin and that we're going to love the Lord, and you show the Lord love by keeping his commandments, right? And doing what was commanded of you, being obedient. And we're going to be 100% obedient to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. And to love Yahweh thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, thy God, will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee. And that's what these nations are doing. As they ruling over us, they're enriching themselves and persecuting us at the same time, right? They're abusing us, they're destroying us, right? At the same time, you got fucking Moab, you got Ammon, you got Ishmael, you got Edom, especially Edom ruling over Jake. Somebody said the solution is to learn what they did to get where they are and replicate it and applaud them. I applaud them. No, that's not the solution, because how did they get there to where they got to? They robbed and they stole and they lied and cheated and they enslaved the children of Israel, right? And they abused us and they oppressed us. That's how they got there, right? So we don't have to. We're gonna replicate it in a righteous way. We're gonna rule over our oppressors, like the scripture says. This is Isaiah 14 and 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Right? And so that's what we're going to do. And the kingdom of heaven, that's exactly, the kingdom of heaven is going to be here on earth. Right? Because these heathen, they got the kingdom of the Gentiles on the earth right now. And this ain't the only time they've been in power. Right? These nations, they come together in a huddle, right? You read Psalms 83, and they are confederate against us, right? They're confederate. I'm gonna get that. They're a confederate against us, okay, to overthrow us and stop us from being a nation, right? And to keep us in a state of sin and iniquity. That's what they want, right? Psalms 83 and 1. Keep not thou silence, O Most High. Hold not thy peace and be not still, O Most High. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. Who hates the Lord? Um, these heathen nations. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, right? And consulted against thy hidden ones. We are the Lord's people. We are the hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, Ishmaelites and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagareans, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, and the children of Lot are Moab and Ammon. These people, these are heathens, and all of these nations at at the highest level have agreed to oppress us. That's why wherever our people are at, and these heathen nations are ruling over us, there's nothing but oppression. Well, that's all. That's the whole world. Somebody said, I have always said the whole financial department of the world, not just the country or two, but everything is under their control when it comes to this department, right? And it ain't just finances, but they use it as a heavy mode of witchcraft to oppress our people. You think that if I just go to work and I save and I work my jobs and I go to school, I can go to college and get a couple of degrees, that's gonna make me wealthy like these families. That ain't it, Chief. That ain't it. You just gonna be a educated slave. That's all. A so-called educated slave, because you really ain't educated. You just institutionalized. That's it. These nations, though, they're ruling over our people and destroying us as they rule over us. But that's about the end, like it keeps saying. Jeremiah 30:16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So all our adversaries, all our enemies are these different nations, right? It don't matter if they're on top right now, or if they're sharing a piece of the pie right now, they're all our enemies, right? The Lord's gonna put them in slavery. He's gonna put them in captivity. Under who? Under us. And guess what? When after 1,000 long years of hardcore slavery is over, because they building Israel while that 1,000 years going, when they get their nations, guess who's gonna be over their ass giving them loans? We is. Guess who's gonna be over their ass owning businesses within their lands? But see, we're not gonna give them abominations. We're not gonna give them food to destroy themselves. We're not gonna give them anything that's gonna destroy them. Everything's gonna be in righteousness, you see. But it's gonna be our people that's wealthy. They're gonna have wealthy of their people, but they're gonna be under our control. They're not gonna, just like they're under Esau's control today. You see, they emulating Esau's dress, they emulating Esau's behavior, and they get the most when they oppressing us. They get the most when they oppressing us. You see, this is the book of First Maccabees 2:10. Uh, I'll start at 8. Her temple is become as a man without glory, right? Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoil? So all these different nations have taken part in our destruction and spoiled us, right? And our people are tired. Jake is tired, man. Because it's no matter where you go in this world, you ain't gonna have nothing. Even if you think you got something, you ain't got nothing. Look what's going on with that nigga Diddy. That nigga he just became a billionaire, and now the nigga's broke again because he's in prison. And his money can't deliver him. He did all that wickedness for Esau, destroyed his own people, pushed out witchcraft and wizardry on our people, did all of that wickedness, and guess what? He can't be delivered. So this nigga, you can't escape the curses, bro. And that's what's gonna happen to these nations. They ain't gonna be able to escape the curses, man. All this is a damn shame, bro. But it's hey, it's the will of the Lord. Let it be done. Because eventually the Lord's gonna raise his people up. He's doing it now via the word. You're looking at some of the aristocrats of our people, starting with the bishop elders, like the apostle elders, the bishop elders, and the brothers on down the great millstone. And the brothers all around the world that's preaching the word of Yahweh, Shemi Habashai, and truth and sincerity. That's the new aristocracy. That's gonna be the governing body, right? The super elite families, that 144,000, right? Getting it. And our sons and our daughters and all of them, we're gonna rule over these people, man. The way they ruled over us, we're gonna be oppressive to these people for a time period. The way they did to us, times two. They gonna get it. These nations are gonna get it. Okay, so I just wanted to bring this out. I hope you were edified with that. Say shalom on to the next.